McNuggets.
Guys, we got some breaking news we got to get to, which leads us right into our next topic. The Browns have just released their Week 2 preseason depth chart.
All right.
And although all indications, Steve, let's take the tag board.
Are there any
you guys
centers
can't
on
read
it?
this. You can't really read this. It's too small. But
Oh, there it is.
Beautiful.
quarterback 1 is not Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, that's
Deshaun
interesting.
Watson.
Well,
Yeah.
Didn't we
doesn't
just
matter.
hear earlier this week that Jacoby Brissett was going to take all the QB1
It's just a
snaps
depth
in
chart.
preseason moving
Those
into Week
things
2?
are.
we did, and he is, and that's the plan moving forward. But you guys, everybody here understands there is a possibility that Deshaun Watson starts against Carolina.
Whatever.
I mean, there is a route to that.
Are we sure?
So if
it goes to the
let's say
courts?
the decision is announced today.
Right.
Yeah.
The NFLPA files a suit in federal court and they ask for an injunction.
Right.
He plays.
Yeah.
He plays.
The league doesn't want that.
Of course, the league
Yeah.
doesn't want that.
So they.
But
yeah.
so
all
is
right.
it, are they playing games here? Is this is this part of this Cuban Missile Crisis that you guys are discussing?
Maybe.
Where
Guys,
they're like checking their nukes closer to our coastline
Yeah,
right now
possibly.
by saying we have Deshaun as our starter right now.
I would not get hung up on
I
depth
wouldn't
charts.
either.
Those are not important. They don't really matter.
You know what?
Yeah.
Imagine how we
Preseason
would have
depth
looked at
charts
that
do
if
not.
Deshaun Watson wasn't on it. If you're not going to put him 1, where are you going to put him?
Yeah.
Oh, to fourth.
Okay,
off the
okay.
chart?
Now
Yeah.
imagine the public's reaction if he's 4th.
Yep.
What are you going to say now? Whoa!
Do you guys?
He was Deshaun Watson.
do
and
you
he was
ex-
that bad?
Do you fully expect him to be suspended for a whole year? Because now he's at 4th. Obviously, he would be in the first 2 huddles, right? And here's my thing: does this really mean that Deshaun Watson is going to play the majority of this game?
Right.
I don't think Deshaun. I can't imagine Deshaun Watson plays.
Well, the Browns haven't
He's not
said
gonna-
anything.
No, they haven't said anything, but what do you think they're going to do? We already know they're not going to play Jacoby Brissett, which, quite frankly, is a head scratcher.
I'm
I'm scratching my head
You
more over that.
You grown-ups explain that to me.
I'm confused.
I
I don't
demand that
understand.
you grown-ups explain
I don't
that
understand.
to me.
Well, Jim Donovan reported yesterday
Yes.
on Channel 3 that that Jacoby Brissett was not going to play in the second preseason game.
Right.
Say why.
And then, but nobody else was talking about that. But obviously, Jim's as connected as anybody.
If Jim,
it's just Browns game, so
Jim's
he
got
knows.
it. Jim's
Yeah.
right.
Right. So then I texted.
Unless they change their mind.
Did Jim
Right.
say why though?
No, but Jim also seemed as befuddled about this as we are.
So I texted my man Darryl Ryder, who I'll see
the
today
D-man,
at Browns
Dangerous
game.
D-man.
Dangerous Darryl, and I said, I heard Jim Donovan just said that Brissett's not playing. Have you heard the same thing? He goes, yes, he's not going to play. I said, what's going on? Are they because of Deshaun's situation? Are they scared of him getting hurt? And he said, I think so. Now he doesn't know that for sure. He's just
Right.
speculating.
well,
but
Bull, it's the only rational reason I
It
can
is.
come up with.
But here's the thing, Jay. Like I said this before, Joe Burrow's not going to play in the preseason because he had an appendectomy 2
That
weeks
makes
ago.
perfect sense.
And he's
Joe Burrow.
And he's Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
right? If you're a proven starting quarterback,
And you know the
with
offense.
the team,
Yeah,
Who was in the
then
Super
it's
Bowl
fine.
last
then
year.
fine.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with
Jacoby
Brissett.
Brissett's been a backup most of his career. Even when he's played, he's not played on this team with these
Right.
players. So I don't understand how you don't play. I'm not saying he has to play
Especially-
every snap.
Especially
I'm
you're
not
right.
either,
he's
but
not,
I want to see him for a half of football against the
Right.
Eagles,
Yeah.
and then maybe a quarter in the last preseason
I
game.
don't like teams being scared of guys getting hurt.
I
You
don't
can't play
either.
that
I
way.
But
It's football,
you
G.
played it,
Especially
G.
with
Bush.
Jacoby
If you
Brissett.
go on the field and you're thinking, "Oh, I hope I don't get hurt," well, nobody does that.
No, you can't. Listen, football, I try to tell people, football is a savage sport. It's just about when you're going to get injured. You can get injured just by the explosive nature of what you were doing in regular movements.
Mm-hmm.
You can plant, blow an Achilles, ankle, knee, all of that. Non-contact injuries are there. By the way, how many guys in the offseason injure themselves for the year working out? Just
time.
working out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Few guys every year.
Every year. So here's the thing. You're not going to be able to protect him, and you need to get him some reps. Now, think about this, man. This is why I always say this. Coaches really don't do themselves any favor by the way they go about their business. If Jacoby Brissett comes out here week 1 and gets smoked by Baker Mayfield, you are now, Kevin Stefanski, you're behind the 8 ball so tough because people going to say, it wasn't a Deshaun Watson problem. It was a Kevin Stefanski not getting his quarterback ready
I
problem.
agree.
Right.
He
Gotta get him
didn't
in,
practice.
Steph.
He didn't do nothing. And then he's out here rusty. And now we lose because you're not doing the best thing to put people in position.
Yeah, you'd rather have him scared in the first quarter of a regular season game than like scared and trying to find his footing in the first quarter of a second preseason game.
Baker's played more games in the NFL, starts at least, than Jacoby Brissett. He's playing in
Yes.
preseason because he's on a new team and he needs to learn.
And it also doesn't matter if he gets hurt. I mean, the same thing here. It's not a huge drop-off, I don't think, from Jacoby Brissett to Dobbs. I don't know if it would be, and even if it is.
I mean,
Well, in experience,
Or-
there
in
is.
experience
Sure.
it is. Yeah, but like Jacoby, it's a good point. Jacoby Brissett's not that good that like
He's not
we
Tom
don't even
Brady.
know what Josh Dobbs is. It's possible Josh Dobbs could be better than Jacoby Brissett.
Who knows?
I mean,
He's
based on
barely
the eye
played.
test,
He might be.
played fine
He
in
might
one.
be out of this world.
He might be. Entirely.
I'm going home, everybody.
good
I'll
line.
see you guys.
Hey, that's a hell of a contribution.
It just doesn't. It just. I think when you think about like when I'm going to play a player in the preseason, I think is there more to gain from playing him or lose? Like I think about Nick Chubb. There's more to lose playing Nick
Yes.
Chubb in the preseason than the game,
Yes.
right? Nick Chubb knows everything about the offense. Okay, maybe he hasn't taken a million snaps
And his
from
position
Brissett.
is so reactionary.
It's
too.
exactly.
And he's Nick
So
Chubb.
it's-
I don't need him out there.
instinct. No,
and
he
every
should-
carry he takes is
One off the
right.
list.
So
Yeah.
I don't need Nick Chubb to do
you're
anything.
a quarterback
But yes.
who is leading the offense, who
Absolutely.
has never done it with this group of guys. And by the way, Amari Cooper, I wouldn't be
That's what I was
surprised if
gonna
we
say
don't
that.
see Amari Cooper in the
That's
preseason.
what I was gonna
Right,
say.
Brissett's not gonna play.
When are Cooper and
We
Brissett
can't
going
put
to
our only
develop this
receiver out there.
chemistry
It's just
with
in
live
practice.
bullets
It's just right.
flying
Yeah.
around?
Yeah.
It seems nuts. Let's
Now,
bring
I
in
think
the pro to get the real reaction to this.
Real quick, I think one thing Darryl also said to me is that they think they're going to get a lot from these joint practices with Philly because even though they're not games, they're a notch above a traditional practice.
Yeah.
We'll see what DeQuell thinks of that.
No, and I'm sure they will get something out of it.
Yeah.
He need
Yeah.
both.
But it's,
And you got
He
first
needs both.
teamers on first teamers too, which is helpful as opposed to first teamers and second teamers like in a scrimmage that you're doing
right.
with your play.
I don't get it, but we're going to bring in DeQuell, and he's going to tell us what
He's
he
on
thinks about the whole
vacation,
thing.
DeQuell. Where is he?
Yeah, this big
Well, we'll get
mystery
to that in a
vacation.
sec. Before we bring in DeQuell, I do want to read a comment here from Noah 2023. Noah says, do any of you people actually think that this show's producer or host or commentators really read your comments you're making in here? They don't care what you people are saying. That's false. We do care.
I
We
don't.
read
We do
everyone.
care.
Anthony,
I don't want to
do
say I
care.
don't care. I just don't read them. I'm busy.
Well, we read them during the show.
I'm
and
happy
that's how
that
we
they do.
That's
break
great.
them back,
I'm
so.
happy to have you. Speaking
I stay in the comment section under G Bush. What y'all talking about, man? Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. You need to stop playing around with
He's
me.
very engaged on behalf of all of
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
He's doing it for all of us.
So
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you,
you for
Noah.
that.
We do care and we do appreciate
No,
it.
we
Now,
love you. Keep watching, brother. Keep
Yeah.
watching. Keep commenting.
And keep
Please.
telling us
Someone's
how you
gonna
are.
see it.
Tell
The
us what
show
we're
is
bad at.
reading
It's
the
fine.
comments. Anthony reads every comment.
Anthony and Earl are on.
Does
it.
he really read every
Yes.
comment?
Yes.
Steve Becker does
Now
too.
we're all-
Steve
that's
Becker
why-
sends
That's
them
why
in.
he can't sleep at night.
Bless their hearts.
I know. He has to take 2 Valium just to get to bed because of your
Nah,
comments.
Anthony's just depressed because he's in the friend zone with every girl in his life.
Oh,
Not for
Oh,
long,
wow.
dude.
Shots fired.
Poor
Hey,
Anthony.
no, there he
going
goes. Oh no, Anthony.
Oh, poor Anthony. I love Anthony.
Anthony's walked out.
Oh,
This is a
We
strike.
gotta get
Anthony's
Anthony out of the friend zone, man. Get
Yep.
him out. Gee,
Listen,
school him up, will you?
He's just circling the airport, waiting to see where to land. That's all he's doing right now.
I can sympathize because when I was Anthony's age, I was in the friend zone too with almost every girl I knew.
Right.
I was every girl's best friend. Oh, Adam, you're so cute. You're so nice. You're so sweet. Yeah, I'm not getting any action.
All right, well, DeQuell's officially laughing at this, so let's
Wow,
bring DeQuell
someone
on via the
called
Gridiron
you
Guys
sweet?
hotline.
Don't you
Nice.
sweet? To
Are you
girls.
looking for a
Girls love
local
me.
roofer you
G.
can
Bush.
trust?
If I gave you 10 adjectives to describe Bull, are sweet and nice on the list?
No.
Hey,
I'm
Who are you
telling
hanging
you.
around with?
All
But
the
sweet
girls.
and nice are how you can describe the
go ahead.
Gridiron Guys. They're family owned since 2013. The Gridiron Guys have grown to become Northeast Ohio's top-rated roofers. They exemplify quality work practices and are a valued resource for homeowners and offer a 10-year workmanship warranty. Call 330-573-7967 today for a free estimate or roof inspection.
Gridiron guys. Speaking of gridiron guys, here's DeQuell Jackson. That's his house.
Hey, no, the villain in the
He
house.
was on
What's up,
vacation.
fellas?
He came up.
Came home.
on vacation.
Rich villain in the house.
What's going on?
We were told you were on vacation. That's
It's a
clearly your house.
staycation.
Yeah. I was in Aspen for a week, and I'm back
I
for a
told
week,
you
and
that's
then
what
I'm,
it was.
I said
and then I'm
Aspen,
heading back
didn't
out
I?
to Italy pretty soon, the end of the week, and I'll be gone for probably the first week of September.
I just assumed
Yeah.
you brought that chair with you everywhere you went and all that stuff behind you
background.
to set up in
That would be
Italy
good
or
if
in
you did that.
Aspen and stuff like
It's a
that.
very comfortable chair, by the way.
That's a
I
good
love
looking
the
chair.
turnaround. The turnaround was boss.
Yeah.
So wait, where in Italy are you going?
So we're going to Sardinia for a week, and then Mykonos, Santorini, and then Paros, Greece for a friend's wedding.
What a life he's living.
Man, I'm coming.
Are you eating pizza every day in Italy? Like, are you going to eat pizza every day?
I'm eating pasta every day.
Yeah,
Hey,
you gotta have a red sauce every day in
Did
Italy.
you know there were different areas of Italy? I had no idea.
Hey, DeQuell, man.
How about that?
Hey, man, let me find out you get some of that CTE money. That's that vacation
Oh,
money.
no. Listen, I'm doing well up here, brother.
I don't remember
want
how
any
I
of
got
that
so
money.
rich.
I don't want any of that money. I'm good.
No, DeQuell played at a very high level, was fairly compensated for his career, and was very smart with his money.
His
Yes.
wife was smart with his
Absolutely.
money.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's how you live a comfortable
And he
life.
did not let his experience with the Browns traumatize him. He's still a healthy human being, too.
But you know
and that's
what?
good to see.
When he left the league, very few people know about this. Joe Thomas really got paid. When you leave the league, if you have more than 5 years with the Browns, you get what's called hazard pay.
Yes.
And it's a huge, because it's such a traumatic experience.
Yep.
So there's a huge settlement fund. It's in the billions.
I saw it hit.
Why do you think Tim Couch is riding so high?
That's
Exactly.
true.
Tim got a huge check. DeQuell got a lot of money for it.
Yep.
It's
Thank
Browns hazard pay.
Thank you for your service.
I can't believe they got
I
me
definitely
on
need
that
to
one.
tap into that hazard pay a little bit more. I tell you that.
Hey, DeQuell, please talk us off the ledge. Why would Jacoby Brissett not play in preseason game number 2 when he's going to be the guy and there's only going to be one preseason game left and we don't know what's going to happen there? Is that a good move or a bad move to keep him on the sideline?
I think I'm along with you guys. I think it's terrible that he's not playing. I don't understand. This guy has it. This is the first year under the within this system. The first year with Kevin Stefanski. The first year with Amari Cooper. All these different scenarios. You have Nick Harris go down. You have all these different variables thrown at you. He should be playing he should be getting the majority of the snaps, game reps, not just practice, but game reps. Because anyone who's ever played this game understands practice and having joint practices are a little bit different from a competition standpoint, but more importantly, game reps, game shape, the crowd noise, the all these different variables you can't simulate during practice. This guy needs to be playing. So I can't talk you off the cliff because to me, it doesn't make any sense, obviously, knowing that Deshaun Watson, you want to get him some game reps, you want to get his feet underneath him, but you're trying to win football games. What about the rest of the guys on the team that wants to see the quarterback play in live action to see, you know what, if we have a guy that can get us through the first part of the season or the second part of the season, pending when Deshaun Watson will be able to play, if he's able to play. So I don't understand this move at all. Practice reps are one thing, but he needs game reps. Yeah. I don't understand this from Kevin Stefanski, and I think I heard G say this earlier. If things go south with Jacoby Brissett early on, he's going to take the bulk of the blame because they're going to say he didn't get him prepared to play.
100%.
So I don't understand this logic of not playing this guy. I really don't.
I don't even. You talked me off the cliff. The thing is, I didn't get off it. I jumped.
Yeah, you jumped.
It's scary.
Do you think, like, if you're Jacoby Brissett, like, he's not a rookie, he's been in the league a while, like, if you're him, do you go to Kevin Stefanski and say, Coach, I need the reps here? Like, do you think he's done that and Stefanski shot him down, or do you think he's not the type of guy that would do that?
No, I don't think he's the type of guy that would do that because it throws off. I guess they have a plan, right? They want to make sure all the guys are healthy for the start of the season. That's my only logical explanation for Jacoby Brissett not being in the game, taking game reps. So I don't think Jacoby Brissett would do that. He wouldn't want to shake things up and complicate things as more than what it is right now. But again, he's not Peyton Manning. He's not Andrew Luck. He's not one of these guys that you're gonna get an ultimate amount of production when he's on the field. So every rep counts. And I just don't understand this, that he's not getting any game reps. He should be. For me, I would want to see him manage the second unit to see, you know what, can he manage the second unit and can he be productive against the opposing team's second unit to know, you know what, when I put him in with the ones, he can operate this offense efficiently and guys are confident that he can get him the ball.
You know, DeQuell, I look at not only there, I look on the defensive side of football. Do you believe there's a difference between defensive players not playing and offensive players not playing? A quarterback is different. I look at Anthony Walker, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome. Those guys haven't been out there. John Johnson hasn't played. Myles Garrett. Do you think there's a difference between defensive players and offensive players when it comes to reps and needing to be out there?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, G. I think for the offense, the timing is everything. Building rapport, understanding how guys are going to operate when in live action. I played with a lot of guys who were great practice players, but when that whistle blows and you put that helmet on and you add that crowd noise and the element of being tired, things can go sour and south very quickly. So you need to understand how guys operate from a game standpoint. Now, offensively, I think quarterback has to play. Unless you're Tom Brady, unless you establish yourself of no one being able to confuse you from a defensive standpoint. Defensively, me personally, I needed to play. I needed to feel that, the weights that I lifted that offseason, the conditioning the extra conditioning I had done in the offseason, in the spring and training camp, to know if I'm doing what I'm doing is right. Can I get off blocks a little bit better? So you really have to, for these guys who aren't playing defensively, I think it's a lot easier because you're not looking at timing. You're more in a reactive, standpoint. But again, for me personally, man, whether it was 10 or 15 or 20 reps, I would go to my coach and tell him, hey, man, I need at least 15 to 20 snaps each preseason. I can't have less than that because from a confidence standpoint, I don't know if what I'm doing differently this year is working. So again, obviously, veteran, the more you've played, the more experience you've had, obviously you deal with those things a lot easier. But this unit, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm playing a lot more of my starters now than I ever have before because of the Deshaun Watson situation and because of Jacoby Brissett. Will he be the guy? You want to see what your team will look like in live action, no matter who the competition is. Can you move the ball efficiently? Can you operate the offense efficiently? Can you get down on third down defensively? Can you get after the passer? Are we all working in unison? All these things need to be answered. And the way Kevin Stefanski and this group are dealing with this, they're putting a lot of trust in the practices and these joint practices that's going to be coming up pretty soon, which is out of my comfort zone, if you ask me.
DeQuell, I don't know if you were watching earlier, but we here at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show just broke some incredible Browns news by releasing to everyone their second preseason game depth chart, which, as we all know, is about as reliable as a horoscope and just as legitimate. But it does have Deshaun Watson listed as the #1 quarterback. And we are trying to figure out what they're trying to message through that or what that means. Why would he still be listed as #1? And do you think they're trying to say anything?
Yeah, I think, you look at his first performance, the first rollout pass, the guy was wide open, Schwartz sailed it over his head. They're probably trying to build his confidence. Listen, for the last 20 months, the guy's life has been under scrutiny every day. He can't eat in private. He can't do anything in private without someone writing a story or talking about him in, daily news cycles. So maybe this is a way to gain his confidence. Listen, he had a moment during that preseason game where he eluded pressure. He hit Schwartz 2 yards before the first down. It would have been a great play for Schwartz to make, would have been a great confidence builder for Deshaun Watson. It didn't happen. So maybe that's a tool. They're trying to play this psychology game of, hey, listen, we want you to get in. We want to list you as quarterback 1. We want to have you make some good plays down the field so you can have some confidence because we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if he's going to trot out the first game of the season or he's going to miss the whole season. We don't know. So Stefanski is in a conundrum here in terms of getting 2 guys ready. But one guy for sure you're going to have is Jacoby Brissett. And you need to get him ready more than anything. So your guess is better than mine. But, this is a really tough issue that Kevin Stefanski has to maneuver daily and weekly. And we're just playing this waiting game to see what quarterback will Deshaun Watson be available at any point throughout the season.
DeQuell, I want to talk about the center position. You mentioned before Nick Harris getting hurt. I didn't like when the Browns cut J.C. Tretter. I understand you always got to worry about the salary cap. I've heard some people say, oh, Tretter's not as good anymore. I don't know. The eye test tells me he's good, and the Pro Football Focus grade tells me J.C. Tretter's good. So between those two, I think he's still, at worst, a top 10 center in the league. But okay, they want to go with a young guy, Harris, fine. But now he tears up his knee. He's out for the season. I don't know why they wouldn't call Tretter. Now, Bitonio, who, as you know, never says anything controversial, right? It never.
Right.
And yet he said, hey, I think he's not on a team because he's the player's rep, and he ticked off the owners, right?
Yeah.
One, what did you think of those comments? And two, do you think it's imperative for the Browns to bring him back?
Yeah, I think there's some truth to those comments. The guy holds, the team accountable in terms of what they can and cannot do within the building. I remember playing with a guy named, he was a player, Scott Fajita. And it was during the time where we had a head coach that was really flirting between what he could and could not do. And Scott kept everyone in that locker room, on pins and needles in terms of, hey, I'm a union rep. You're not going to disrespect me. And I'm going to hold you guys accountable. This is the do's and don'ts. And, yeah, I think it has something to do with it. But right now, given the situation, not knowing who's going to be your quarterback, if you're the GM here, Andrew Berry, Andrew Berry, you need to be on the phone talking to Trotter. You need to kick those tires for sure. Anyone who's familiar with this system, anyone who's played in this position before, and that will be the number one guy I'm calling right now to see, where he is from a conditioning standpoint. He's not on the team. Does he still want to play? Is this a place that he can see himself playing? You making him an offer that he can't refuse, because the center position is a very valuable position, knowing that we don't know who's going to play on the center, and he's the orchestrator of the protection. So listen, this isn't rocket science here. This isn't chess we're playing. This is an easy game we're playing. And you get a guy that understands the system, who's been here before, and a guy that you can rely on.
DeQuell, every year the media and the fans look at the roster. They know what they have, and they circle the strong points. Hey, running back, defensive back, this team is fantastic. And then they also look at the areas of weakness. And the two areas that really jump out, obviously center now because of the injuries. And you didn't even mention, Bull, yesterday, their rookie, the seventh-round pick, Dawson Deaton, tore his ACL. So there's another person.
Who knows if he was going to make the team? But
who knows? But it's another person that could play the position without hands.
I had just bought his jersey, too.
Yeah, I had two. The fact of the matter is,
they won't take it back.
You're even more thin. So,
sure.
DeQuell, here's where I'm going with this. So often, when the media is saying before a season, I don't know what this team is thinking at this position, but they're really super thin. Oftentimes that pans out. The guys that cover the sport for a living, they understand, they know who's who, they know what they have. And the one area of weakness is wide receiver. Everybody's looking at this wide receiver room saying, wait a minute, who's going to catch the balls? Anthony Schwartz has had a real problem catching footballs. By the way, you had one job. And sometimes I look at Donovan Peoples-Jones and I wonder how he's even still on this roster. I don't get it. So that is another position that, quite frankly, I think by week 3 or week 4, the big narrative could be, well, what did we expect? We knew in training camp we had no wide receivers. Right. What do you do to address that this late in the game? I know there's a couple of names that are still out there, but what are they waiting on? Why have they done nothing to beef up that position?
Man, I wish I had a crystal ball, because you said all the right points. Because Anthony Schwartz, oh my gosh, the ball hit him right in his chest. It's just something. I don't know if he has bad eyes or what. Go get your eyes checked. I don't know what's going on with this guy. And you're right, the receiver position. I don't care who you have at quarterback. If you don't have a guy that's a surefire on the outside, aside from Amari Cooper, you can't run the ball for 70 snaps and expect to win football games. And not in the AFC, you're not going to be able to do it. So they have for a team that was projected with Deshaun Watson to be a Super Bowl contender, championship contender, to be one of the top teams in the AFC. Now look at how things have unfolded. Now that, you like you mentioned, the center position, which is a very important position, that's questionable. Receivers, you thought these guys will make huge leaps. Again, it's only been one preseason game, so I don't want to pile up on them too much, but you are who you are based on that tape when you turn it on. And Anthony Schwartz isn't getting it done. Donovan Peoples-Jones, where are you? And I'm looking for David Bell, the rookie. I watched the game and I didn't see much. I didn't see much. I don't know what's going on there, but the Browns, for a team that was projected to make some noise in the postseason, boy, they scratching their head right now because they have a lot of holes to fill quickly because this season's going to be here before you know it.
I need some Pepto-Bismol.
You know, Jay mentioned there's still a few receivers out there. We've talked a lot about Will Fuller, but one guy who's still out there, he's a teammate of yours, and that's T.Y. Hilton. What do you think he was such a great player. He's no longer a great player. Does he still have enough left in the tank to help the Browns? Do you think he'd play anywhere besides Indy? Because he's played there for his entire career.
Yeah, he's definitely married to the Indianapolis Colts, and honestly, I don't see him playing outside. Obviously, if the money's right, the situation's right, he's obviously going to look at a quarterback because he's played with Andrew Luck for the majority of his career, which he was able to make a name off of. So he's definitely going to look at who's throwing him the football, and he's actually played with Jacoby Brissett at one point or another. So listen, it's all going to boil down to if he wants to play. The guy's made a ton of money in Indianapolis. He's a fixture there. He is a name that I didn't even think about until you just said that, but he's definitely a guy who can still take the top off of defense. He can still run. Now, the intermediate routes, that's not his strong suit. He's a guy that's going to, keep overs. The guy has really sure hands. He's definitely a guy that, if the Browns were to bring him in, you probably got to pay him a little bit more than league minimum. And I don't think he's at the point of his career where he's going to take anything less than whatever he was making in Indy. So, but they definitely have to kick the tires on this situation because if guys don't start to prove themselves soon, you're going to have to make a splash. And again, they gave up a lot to get Deshaun Watson. So they don't have a lot to offer without, handicapping themselves for the future. So this is going to be Andrew Berry really put himself in a tough position in that front office moving forward of how to at least trot out a competitive football team this year.
This is a homage to the Baker Bros, but I gotta be consistent on it. Last year, at the end of the year, when Baker was finishing, there was a laundry list of things we said we had to do because Baker Mayfield wasn't the guy, right? So the first thing we had was receivers. Now, if we didn't get Deshaun Watson, everybody said we got to go after a number one receiver in the draft and possibly get another one. All of a sudden, that's changed. We also talked about, hey, we need to upgrade at certain positions, and we need to be aggressive because this team has 2 years, right? We right in the middle. We can't waste nobody's time. Now, we down a center, we down receivers. Defensive tackle you got some new young guys in there. All of a sudden, there doesn't seem to be that level of urgency. My thing is for people that saw Baker Mayfield play, and there was a lot of things we said with Baker. Now, all of a sudden, it seemed like they switching course a little bit because that sense of urgency for me hasn't been there, right? You signed David Njoku, that's cool. But at the end of the day,
they did get Amari Cooper.
But
you lost Jarvis Landry.
But you lost Jarvis Landry.
But Amari Cooper's better than Jarvis Landry.
Slightly.
Yeah, but so you traded one name receiver for another.
And so
that's not upgrading the room.
I think it is. I think
if Jarvis Landry was still on this team, I'd feel a whole hell of a lot
last season
better.
you were still going into the season with Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, as far as you knew. So we didn't know what Odell was going to be for us. So you felt
this year both are gone, and we got Amari Cooper. That's not an upgrade.
That's right. And so my thing is, I don't think. Do you feel that there's a level of urgency right now? It seemed like the Deshaun Watson move got made, but they don't understand when you made that move. You have to be aggressive everywhere. You can't just be aggressive with that. You got to maximize it, even if he's not playing. I just don't see that level of urgency, especially with a downgrade at quarterback. How are you winning games?
Listen, I would have never – listen, I've said this before. I think Jay and I were on the same page with this many weeks ago. But I wouldn't have traded away Baker Mayfield so early. I was one of those people that thought, you know what, he's under contract. He may be disgruntled. He may not like his situation. But you make a move based on Deshaun Watson availability. And I tell you what, he would have been a lot better option right now than what the situation is moving forward. Yeah, it would have been dicey for him to be in the same, room as Deshaun Watson. But you know what? This is a big boy league. Go earn your stripes. Go earn your pay. Show everyone why they should keep you. So, I've said that. I haven't said it recently, but I would have played that card as long as I could have. And you know what? Now they're in the conundrum where, man, this doesn't look good at all. But we haven't seen the starters play. We had a lot of guys that didn't play. Again, defensively, there was a lot of guys who stood out to me. You know, what's
There
the
were some bright
cornerback?
spots.
Emerson from Mississippi State.
The pick
I
six.
thought, listen, the pick six. He's another guy, big, tall corner who's going to help this team and maybe pick up the slack in other areas. So, to answer your question, G, I mean, I think they're playing a waiting game. They're trying to see. I think the domino effect is Deshaun Watson. You know, how aggressively are you going to play and grab guys based on his availability? And right now, they made a huge splash early on. You don't want to keep digging that hole deeper and deeper that you can't come out of it, because in the end, you won't have a job if this thing completely blows up. So I think they're playing the waiting game. There's going to be unfortunately, there's going to be a ton of injuries in the next few weeks and a lot of cuts in the next few, unexpected cuts in the next few weeks. And possibly it could be someone that you can plug in and play. That's a veteran that help this football team.
That's why this feels so punitive. I
think
hate
you guys
to say
are
it's a conspiracy
overstating
theory, but the
problem.
NFL, in dragging this out, really has slapped handcuffs on Andrew Berry.
Well,
he can't go out and do anything. He doesn't know who he is.
It's all the more reason to think that they are probably still trying to negotiate something. Like they wouldn't, by dragging this out, that's probably them behind the scenes trying to find some place in the middle that's acceptable to both parties. That's because you're right. Otherwise,
it's different decisions
negligence.
based on whether Watson's out for the year or just out for a certain amount of games.
Yeah, and the longer we go into the preseason where we don't know.
And they're both telling that to each other probably behind the scenes.
Sure.
But they're both telling that to each other. It's not like the NFL is withholding it.
I think we're overstating the problems at wide receiver. First of all,
Wow.
I get it in the division. The Bengals have a great wide receiving core. The Browns, I think, are third. I don't think they're that far behind Pittsburgh. They're better than Baltimore at wide receiver.
Bull, it's a passing league.
I
You're the first to
understand
admit that.
But like,
you can't be weak
who's
at
Aaron
that
Rodgers'
position.
best receiver right now?
Well, look, let's talk about the Packers another day. I agree with you. I think they're going to have a huge
Amari
drop-off.
Cooper is a top 15 receiver in the NFL.
And outside of that, and after that, you have nothing.
I mean, there's not that many teams that have a second great wide receiver. I mean, I would like them to have it. I don't disagree with you. And I do think there are question marks at the rest of the receiver spot. But I just think if you have a good enough quarterback, eventually with Watson, he's going to make guys better.
But I think what's frustrating people is it's just there, and we have the cap space, so just do it. That's really what it is. That's what.
But at this point, I don't know.
They're not falling out of trees either.
I don't know that any of the guys still available in free agency are that much better than the guys they've got at this point. They're bigger names, but.
DeQuell, let me ask you this question, and it's from a defensive guy. If you were lined up against the Cleveland Browns, besides the running game, are you scared of anything they you simply just gonna roll your coverage to Amari Cooper, and I don't even think Bell.
Well, who are you scared of on Pittsburgh?
But they got come on.
Chase Claypool's just the guy.
No.
Deontay Johnson's real good.
Scary.
I'd take your receivers over ours without even thinking.
Pickens, Deontay Johnson, and Claypool.
Pickens a rookie. He hasn't done anything yet. We don't know what he is.
These guys are. I've seen Chase Claypool make catches.
Nobody's scared of Chase Claypool.
I have not seen Anthony Schwartz catch a football under 5 yards.
I hear you, but let's not get crazy about Chase Claypool. He's a decent receiver.
Would you take the Steelers receivers over the Browns?
I would, but I don't think it's a huge gap because I think Amari Cooper's as good as Deontay Johnson.
Tell me what you would do against the Browns, DeQuell.
It wouldn't scare me at all because you're going to load the box and you're going to roll everything, to Amari Cooper. And we said this when the Amari Cooper signing happened. I remember talking about it. He's a great receiver to have in addition to, but he's not your stud receiver that's going to be able to, coverage is rolled to him. He's not that guy that's going to be explosive and make explosive plays week in and week out. Now, is he a surefire or steady hands or route runner and all these different things? Absolutely. But, the Browns don't really frighten you from a receiving core standpoint. And until they show teams they can, other guys can step up and you have to play softer coverage. You're going to load the box for the run and you're going to roll everything to Amari Cooper. And if there's a lot of weight putting on Amari Cooper this year, as it stands right now, if these other guys don't show up, is he up for the task? You and I will all probably agree. We hope so, but he hasn't shown that in years past. And maybe this is a new year. Maybe he turns a page, but there's going to be an enormous amount of pressure on him to get things done, and it's going to take those other guys to step up.
He
And
averages
Schwartz
5
is one
catches
of
a
those
game
guys.
for his
They have
career.
to step up.
I do
Or they
feel
have to make
like
a move outside.
I do feel like we're all sort of glossing over the fact that we are also graced with having one of the highest paid tight ends in the NFL to throw to as well.
And by the way, I don't care how many
But
guys.
not
you put-
highest productive.
I don't
No, I
care
didn't say
how
that.
many guys you put in the box. They've been putting a million guys in the box since Nick Chubb's been here. You ain't stopping Nick Chubb no matter how many
But
guys.
you also
got.
aren't winning if that's all you can do.
Of course, I agree with you. Yes,
So-
but by the way, we're ignoring the fact that Kareem Hunt is a major weapon in the passing game.
I'd like to see it here.
How about all the people saying? How about all the
Used to
people?
be.
How about all the people
Used to
saying
be.
like when Kareem Hunt tried to be like, I want a contract. I loved everybody who was just like, fine, get out of here, Kareem Hunt. Like we can just
Right.
throw this talent away.
I know.
Because we got Dearness Johnson showed up last year and everybody's
one
excited
game.
about this rookie. But we are just such jerks as fans.
Right.
Where we're just like, fine, walk, Kareem Hunt, you incredible weapon
You ungrateful son
who's
of
under
a-
contract. I just hate
Nick
us.
Nuggets,
sometimes.
what do you got?
DeQuell, we're talking about running backs, so I got to ask you this question. Yesterday on the show, G. Bush said that Nick Chubb was better than Emmitt Smith, and I want to
Wait.
throw that take into your life. Yes, it wasn't me. This is
Wait,
not a
what?
Mike Lucas take.
Well, let's not. That's overstating it. I think what he said was.
Own it, G. Bush.
What I said was.
Defend yourself, G.
What I said was, when you look at pound for pound, you look at skill set for skill set. When you look at what he's able to do on the football
And
field,
who Emmitt had playing
and who,
with him.
and who Emmitt Smith had playing with him. You had Eric Williams. You had
Hall
Nick
of Famers
Newton,
across
Hall of
the board.
Famer. He had Hall of Fame caliber. He even had
And he's a
fullbacks.
Hall of Famer, deservedly
And
so.
Emmitt
Sure.
Smith is, but
Yeah.
I said respectfully, when you say respectfully, the disrespect's coming. Respectfully, if you name the top 10 running backs, you'd be hard pressed for a real dude to say, well, I got Emmitt Smith in my top 10
all time.
all time. It's
think
hard.
a lot of people would.
It's hard. I can give you 5 right now. If you say Gale Sayers, you say Jim Brown, you say Tony Dorsett, you say O.J. Simpson,
Walter
Payton, that's already
Oh.
at 5.
You looked up Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders is 6.
No, you're just rattling them
I'm just
off.
rattling. I ain't even thinking about it.
And the point is, I think the apples to apples stat when it comes to running backs is yards per carry. And by that metric, there's only 2 guys that's ever carried the rock that have
Yeah.
done it better per
Now-
carry.
Now,
made
to
his
be
point
fair,
last year.
some of those guys
Than Nick Chubb.
late in their careers had their numbers drop because they weren't as
Yes.
good.
That's
and Nick
fine.
Chubb hasn't reached that point.
No,
in
he
his
hasn't.
career, but-
DeQuell, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
I mean, man, that's tough. I love Nick Chubb. Now, if he can do this over a course of, the
15
duration
years.
of his career, and he can win a Super Bowl, and the Browns go on to be who we think they could be in the near future, I think that's a legitimate argument. But right now, as it stands, he's projected to be really, really good and potential Hall of Famer. But it's hard for me to put him over. I can see the comparison, but it's hard for me to put him over Emmitt Smith. I know that's not what you're saying, putting him over Emmitt
He got
Smith
work
right
to
now.
do.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
got a lot of work to do.
Here's a fair way
it's a
of
fair
saying it.
comparison.
If you could do this, and you can't, but if you could plug Nick Chubb in his prime into an offense that include Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Larry Allen on the
Great
line,
offensive line.
Novacek, a great tight end, great running back.
yeah.
Like, my God.
And plus, you got to look at the
And they
errors.
had a great defense.
The errors are different. They
It's a
throw the
different
ball.
game.
They
Yeah.
throw the ball a lot more. There's more carries back then. But
That's a great argument.
I think the bottom line is, if you're making an all-time list of running backs right now, Emmitt Smith's got to be ahead of Nick Chubb, no
Yes,
doubt.
yes,
Sure.
But I think it's
Absolutely.
possible that when it's all said and done, Nick
Yes.
Chubb could be ahead of Emmitt Smith, depending. He's capable
I
of being
think
better.
to DeQuell's
at the
point,
end of his career.
he better win at least one Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
got to,
Yeah.
he's got to.
That's
Well,
fair.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm taking Barry Sanders every day over
Right.
Emmitt Smith.
Yeah,
and
he didn't win
he
anything.
never won anything. It wasn't his fault. A running
No.
back can't control that.
No, I know.
I
but
take.
you know how legacy voters are.
Yeah, I hear you.
They want to see hardware for individual and team.
I'd take Emmitt Smith over any back I've seen play ever, including Walter Payton.
Emmitt Smith over anybody?
Anybody I've seen play.
Over Barry
I'm sorry,
Sanders.
Barry Sanders.
Okay,
I mean.
Barry Sanders,
I
I'm
meant
with
Barry
that.
Sanders.
Yeah.
How about you, DeQuell? You taking Barry Sanders or you taking somebody else?
Absolutely. The only person I would probably even think about taking over Barry Sanders is maybe OJ or
Jim Brown was pretty good.
Yeah,
Jim
he's before our
Brown.
time though.
It's like, you're right. But
Yeah.
Barry, it's hard for you to choose anyone over Barry. Barry was just special, and he was on a team that didn't win.
They
And that was
sucked.
an era where they ran the football every snap.
But they
It
make
wasn't
the
a
playoffs
throwing
once.
league, and the guy
Maybe
wasn't the
once.
biggest
He had,
guy.
he had no talent around him. He had what's his name? Herman Moore was a pretty good receiver he had.
Right?
But
Yes.
they never had a good quarterback, really. I mean, that guy he was just a freak. Like, I don't know. I've never seen anything like the way
And
he
then the
moved.
And there was
back.
gas left in his tank when he walked away.
Remember him in college? Like in college, he was putting up like absurd. He was putting up quarterback numbers in college.
And then
Yeah,
the
I think he
same
had a
thing happened
2,000-yard
on the
season.
same team with Calvin Johnson, where another just all-timer like that just shows up and wastes a wonderful career
right.
on this miserable team.
Anyway.
There's I will say this. I think that, people are talking about Nick Chubb and maybe you don't have enough to pay him. Nick Chubb is definitely one of the guys that fits the mold of one day he
No
wakes
doubt.
up and says, I don't want to play no more, and he's just done.
Yeah.
And
can
we
see
would
that.
be devastated. Like, what you mean?
Like
Yeah.
Barry Sanders.
Like,
Yes.
what you talking about? You got 5 more years, dog. He's like, nah,
Yep.
just
And we'll never,
ride out.
and then we'll never see him again.
Ever.
never
Just
talk
go.
again.
No, he's not gonna go
He
on
ain't doing.
TV.
He ain't doing the media tour. There's none of that for Nick Chubb.
To quote the Indians, now Guardians owner Dolan, enjoy them while you have them.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
No, he's
Big
going
guy,
into the
so-
woods, and we'll never see him again.
Man,
My
Hold
work
on,
here is done.
DeQuell's trying to chime in.
Oh,
DeQuell's
sorry.
trying to chime in.
Oh yeah, my bad. My bad.
I was doing
Speaking
a
of
bit.
Barry Sanders, so I had the privilege of a guy named Kevin Glover, who was his center for 8 years. He actually is a University of Maryland graduate, and we become really good friends over the years. And he would tell me stories about Barry and just how just soft-spoken he was, but again, the fraternity, I can't really talk about it on camera, but the guys, they always get together once a year, and Barry's always there. And just the camaraderie between the offensive lineman and Barry, he still takes care of those guys even to this day. And it's really unique stories that he's told me over the past, and I've had the, opportunity to kind of, listen to him. And I feel like I know Barry, even though I've never met him. A ton of great stories from Kevin Glover, who played a ton
He was.
with Barry.
I have one funny Barry Sanders story. And when you go to the Super Bowl, and as media, you're doing one interview after another with Hall of Famers, and they're just bringing them through, and it's just one for the entire 2-hour show. And one year Barry Sanders was in, and he was pitching MasterCard, and he had a shirt on with the logo, and that's the Super Bowl really is a pitchman's
Yes.
dream because they're all making money and they're selling stuff. So we're on the set, and it's always the payoff question is the last one. You talk about the Super Bowl matchup and his career and everything else. And they say, hey, Barry, what are you doing here at Super Bowl? And that's when he's supposed to deliver his spiel. And he's like, well, I'm here on behalf of Visa. And, so and I literally froze.
Oh my!
I froze in my seat because I'm looking at a shirt that says MasterCard.
Oh.
And I'm thinking,
Not on TV.
And
I know,
listen,
right?
I'm trying desperately to get him out of it, but he knows what the spiel is, and he's going to deliver it.
Oh my
And he's
God!
raving about Visa.
And he's raving about Visa and all their services, and we go to commercial,
Yeah.
and and we're on site too, so there's a lot of people around.
Oh my God!
And his the PR woman with MasterCard came running over, and she grabs him, and she's like, Barry, we're MasterCard.
Oh, God.
And you could just see the life drain out of Barry's
that's
face.
hard.
That's
I
not
saw
his
him
thing,
later that week at another Super Bowl event, and I felt the need to apologize to him. I don't know why.
Yep.
I just basically was saying, Barry, I am so sorry for what happened.
For what
He's
you
like,
did.
hey man, it's my fault.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
said, hopefully it didn't hit you too hard. And I can't remember what the dollar amount was. I think they docked him $50,000 for whatever they were paying. It was a big number.
I
And
wouldn't-
I
And
did
by the way, DeQuell, two running backs none of us even mentioned, which is absurd. Marshall Faulk and Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shoot.
The list
Yeah.
is long.
Yeah.
I mean,
The list is
those are
long.
the all-time greats right there. We didn't even mention
The
those.
list is
Absolutely.
long. And now,
ESPN, real quick, ESPN released their list of GOATs last week. And
Yeah.
we had it on our prelim rundown twice. We haven't done it yet. DeQuell, you want to do it on Friday with us? Go over
Sure.
who ESPN
Yeah.
picked the GOATs.
Yeah.
We'll do that Friday with DeQuell as a
Let's
little,
do it.
little activity. And before we let DeQuell go, I do want to see, let's pull up the tag board. DeQuell, we got this picture from your Instagram. Where'd you go biking in Aspen?
That's
Give us the
DeQuell?
backstory here.
Right.
Dude.
Also, what's up with the
I'm
body
looking up-
armor?
DeQuell, what are you in
Yeah,
the
listen.
CIA now? Are you hanging out with secret agent Peyton Hillis? I mean, what are you doing there?
Come on,
nothing,
well.
nothing Secret Service wise, but I'm trying to live my best life, man.
You
now
are.
that this is my 5th year being retired, so I've always wanted to do, mountain biking. So I'm in Aspen Mountains. Literally, you need all the body armor because the mountain you're like 11,000 feet high, and it's separated through, like, if you go skiing, it's green slopes, blue slopes, and black slopes. So I chose the green, and I tell you, the paths are probably about 3 feet wide, and it is scary, and it is an adrenaline rush. So yes, they asked me if I wanted to wear the helmet, the shoulder pads, the knee pads, everything. I was like, absolutely yes, because I need to come home. But it was a great time.
I need to come home.
Now, the Quell, I think they, brother to brother, I think they set you up a little bit. Now, we kind of dark. You got the whole black cat suit on.
Yeah.
You be out
I
there
look like Black
dehydrated.
Panther.
Like, am I cramping? Yes. You have all black on next to the sun. Like, I commend you, my brother.
In one of the richest, whitest towns in America.
That's the way
Dude,
you do it.
I
What could go
climbed.
wrong?
I did everything, G. Bush.
Hey,
Zip
tell me-
line.
hey.
I did some rafting. I did it all, man. I did it
What
all.
I love
actually
about
fun.
DeQuell is you hear about all these things like skeet shooting and mountain biking. And
He's
you're
doing
like,
it all.
Yeah, that stuff I'll never do.
Yeah.
But DeQuell's like got a list somewhere.
Yeah.
And he's just checking them all off.
Yeah.
What's next? What's your next big adventure?
Skydiving?
So probably next summer, I'll probably do paragliding. I thought about doing it. So here's the thing. I'm afraid of heights. It's not my, I'm afraid of heights, but I do it because it's a thrill. And that's probably the next thing on the bucket list I want to do, and dive with cage dive with great whites. But that'll be sometime down the road.
Hey, so would
Yeah,
you
man,
jump out of an
you know-
airplane? Would you parachute jump?
Oh yeah, I would.
Why
I'm
is
terrified.
Why is Code Red Mountain Dew not sponsoring this and you?
should.
They
It's a
should
good
be.
point.
Code Red Mountain Dew, sponsor him.
Shout out to you breaking the mold, man.
Yeah, really.
Stereotypes are not true. It's not very often you find a black man talk about he about to get in a cage with great white sharks. That's not
Yeah, man.
Shout out
just-
to you,
you
my
know
brother,
what?
man. You
I didn't
doing
know that
it
was
big.
only a white thing. I was
Yeah.
aware of that.
Yeah, I know a
You know
lot of
what,
white
G?
guys that
I'm
aren't doing it either.
terrified of doing it, and when I do something, when I conquer a fear, I just feel that much more empowered, man. It's like, I got to find the adrenaline rush somehow now that I can't tackle anyone. So my wife thinks it's okay. Our insurance is up to date. She always reminds me.
Roundstone.
You know what?
All good to
Cole
go.
Jackson really is the most interesting man in the
He
world.
is.
Yes, he is.
Well, have you been to Mount Rainier?
I have not.
I just went, and unlike you, I wasn't mountain biking or anything. I just drove up as
You
high
didn't
as I
throw
could.
yourself down
And
the mountain?
I did some walking. But, dude, I mean, you love all this nature and all. You got to get there,
Yeah.
man. It's amazing.
Okay, I got to check it
Incredible.
out. I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely into it.
He'll go next week now.
We love to travel to eat and do all that stuff, but now I'm into the outdoorsy stuff. Now that I can bring my son, we both what do we call it? Climb. We climb rocks or mountain
Rock
climbing.
climbing.
Rock climbing?
Rock climbing. Oh, I was terrible. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Look at that.
I was terrible.
You know, the people that are good at it are like McNuggets. They're like,
No,
Yeah, it
wait,
definitely has to be a
wait,
weight
wait,
limit.
let me
no,
chime in.
the light guys kill it.
Let me try. I went on a
Yeah.
date, a rock climbing date the other day, and I got embarrassed. This
No,
girl
you-
showed me up so bad.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
A
It
rock-
was so
No,
hard.
Well, we want to
Listen,
get back
my wife
to rock
recruited
climbing
me
date.
rock climbing with an 8-year-old girl. She was on a harder course than I was, and she was far ahead of me.
Yeah,
and I could,
the lighter you are, the easier it is.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I was like, my hands are killing me. My core is not strong enough. This is not going to happen today.
You're trying to
And I
lift
did
a
it
lot
one
more
time
up
and
a
I was
mountain.
For us big people like me and DeQuell,
Yeah,
carry
right.
so much body mass around.
For you
It's
beefcakes.
tough for us to get up the mountain.
No, those kids are like lemurs. They can skitter right up
Mike's
there.
date was with an 80-year-old girl, by the way. It's really interesting. He likes to date older.
Hey, DeQuell, thanks for coming on. Have a great time in Italy, all right? Send us a postcard.
All right.
Always.
Cheers,
Friday.
guys.
Friday.
This is water,
See you
actually.
Friday.
This is
Oh, it's
water.
back Friday.
This is
Okay,
Tuesday.
good.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
See you, DeQuell.
Bottoms up, my friend.
Take care, guys.
Salute.
DeQuell Jackson. We'll see him Friday before he goes to Italy.
He is. He's coming
Okay.
back one more time before Friday. We will do the ESPN GOAT list, break down where they got it right, where they got it wrong.
Okay.
Because a Brown was named a GOAT, and a Cleveland native was named the second GOAT. So we'll tease for
Okay.
Friday.
Didn't they do the GOAT like for? Oh no, that was somebody else did like a Mount Rushmore of every city's players, like top 4 players. in
Yeah,
history.
I saw that once,
That might have
too.
been Bleacher or
I don't
something, I don't
remember
know.
if ESPN was doing
That
that
wasn't.
or not.
That's not
but-
the article we're gonna do Friday.
Okay.
We're gonna do
Yeah.
something a little different on Friday.